So good evening and welcome once again to the LBJ Grasslands. We are here at TADRA. TADRA stands for Texas Arabian Distance Racing Association. This is a campground that also serves as the trailhead for all of the named trails out here. In fact, they all start right here. Tonight's evaluation is going to be an extensive field review of the Fenix TK 16 version 2. Now my use case is search and rescue. Of course you may think that, well, search and rescue, don't you use those really, huge searchlights with tens of thousands of lumens? And of course there is a place for that type of targeted search. However, I tend to work primarily at night as a solo operator, and I don't have a specific area of responsibility. I just go out and start searching based on what information I have. So I never really know what equipment I'm going to be using, how long I'm going to be using it, to what degree I'm going to be using it. So these operations tend to be a bit more tactical in the sense that they're dictated by evolving circumstances on the ground. So for that reason, I tend to gravitate towards much smaller form factors and lighter weight. Now, in terms of my standard night loadout, which I'm using right now, I have a headlamp, of course. Actually, I carry 3 headlamps. One is a primary, one is a backup in case of failure of the primary, and the third is I may need to be able to give light to other people that are being extracted. And so it definitely pays to have redundancy there. I also carry 2 shoulder mounted lights. Left shoulder is a Fenix TK 22 UE. That's a long throw spot. Now I should say long throw relative to the form factor of the light. I mean, there are spots out there that will throw further, but for that small of a light, under ideal circumstances, I can see out sometimes just over a quarter of a mile. So for a light that small, that's pretty incredible. Now I'll show you all these lights here when we get out to the road. The right shoulder light is something that I use to illuminate for brief periods of time, maybe 5 to 30 seconds beyond the throw of my primary headlamp. And my headlamp now is in medium mode, approximately 500 lumens, and we're headed out to the road now. I tend to like a much wider beam in terms of throw. 200 to 300 yards is fine. Anything over 300 is icing on the proverbial cake. Of course, I like ease of operation, tail cap controls, nothing magnetic. I can't have anything magnetic around my head and shoulders as it interferes with compass readings. The final condition on that particular light is that I want something that's fairly small and fairly lightweight, because I don't always run bright white lights. There's some instances where I'm running nods, and in those cases the right shoulder light is actually going to be an IR illuminator. So I need to be able to take that flashlight off, but I may want to use it later in the evening. So if it's small and compact, I can fit it into a knife pocket. I can fit it somewhere else in my loadout. There's a lot of advantages to a lot of light in a small form factor. Now we're getting pretty close to the road here. This is what the TK22 UE looks like in turbo mode. You can see that's pretty much a pure spot. There's not much spill there, but it's fantastic as far as spots go. Now let's contrast that to the 16. From now on, I'm just going to call these lights the 22 and the 16. Otherwise, the video will go on forever. There is the 16 in turbo mode, 3100 lumens. So, I mean, yes, it does have a good long throw, but notice it's not overwhelming. That's great because if I'm looking at trees, I don't want the reflection coming back off the trees to be so bright that I can't see into the tree. So you can see here, even at fairly close distance, I don't have overwhelming reflections. Now, the way I'm recording on the GoPro, it may come out a little bit brighter than it is up close. But that's just a basic view of what the light looks like, turbo mode. Okay, let's get to tonight's scenario. Always have a training scenario. So this is fairly typical. We are looking for a lost hiker, one hiker, female. Let's see, what's her name? Her name is Amber. I just thought of Amber Alert. So Amber has a friend that she hikes with. They came out here to Tadra. They have another friend who rides horses. I'm going to get my headlamp pumped up a little bit more there. So they have a friend who rides horses. The plan was to come out here and camp. They set up camp this afternoon, and then they would get up early in the morning and they would go, I don't know, ride the Blue Trail. That's a pretty typical thing. A lot of the hikers that come out here are pretty adventurous, and so Amber decided, well, she saw this road here that we're on. So she said, well, you know, we got a couple hours. I'll just follow the road for about an hour and then follow it back. I mean, how hard can that be? You take a road out, you turn around, you take a road back. Okay, well, now it's dark, no Amber. It's real easy to get in places out here where there's no cell phone reception. So it's not surprising that she didn't answer her phone. So first thing I have to do is I get a physical description. I know where she started out. I'm headed out the same way she did. You know, psychology of lost people, real-time tactics. You know, there's basically three scenarios where she could have gotten lost or in trouble. I mean, number one is she got off the road, got lost, got hurt. Number two is she got off the road, made it back to the road, but she turned the wrong way. And so she, instead of walking back towards Tadra, she walked away from Tadra. And after doing that for an hour, well, you know, now you've got to go an hour back just to get where you started. So the chances are she doesn't have any type of, you know, flashlight or night gear or anything. You know, her friends said they never go out at night, so probably the only light she has is a cell phone. If that's the case, as long as she's in pretty good shape, if I just keep going this way, I'll probably run into her. Now, the third possibility, pretty low probability since we don't have that many people out here this time of year, but it's possible that she could have fallen victim to foul play. And so, just ran into the wrong person at the wrong time. So one of the things I'm doing is I'm constantly scanning the road here to see if there are any signs of disturbance that might indicate a struggle or somebody was dragged off. So for example, okay, I don't know if you can see that, but let's say that's a sign that somebody might have been dragged off in this direction. So first thing I want to do is I want to get that 16 in action and kind of start looking back through the trees. And there's a lot of brush there, but you know, I can get over here, I can look down, I can see, you know, really well beyond and to a much greater extent than I can my normal headlamp. And so these are the types of things. Now I'll be looking at what's ahead, I'll turn around, look at what's behind, you know, make sure there are no eyes staring back at me. So these are the ways I use this right shoulder light throughout the night. So what I'm going to do is head on down the road here, and then I'll check back in when there's basically a search and rescue decision I have to make, and that'll give me an opportunity to contrast the two lights for you over more open territory. So here's one place where she might have gotten off the road. This is where the yellow trail comes out and meets the road. Now, there are no footprints, no sign that anyone has walked this way, so really all I'd want to do is bring the 16 in and just do a quick sweep. You can see how much easier it is to see way back in there. Even if I put my headlamp on high, I'd have trouble seeing that deep. And notice, again, I can see beyond the trees because the hot spot is not so bad that the reflections just wipe out everything that I'm looking at. So, quick sweep, nothing here. We have plenty of road ahead. We actually have a pond back over here. I can even see clearly to the other side of the pond and give you an idea of the throw. I mean, to me, that's very impressive. You know, it's got just about the right angle of flood. The quality of the light is really good. Now I can tell it's getting just a tiny bit warm in my hand, but not too bad. And of course, that's about the maximum duration that I would use. Another thing I like about the controls, I've got some wind noise here, so I'm going to have to apologize for that. I'm going to turn away from the wind. I like the fact that I don't have to totally click the light in. I can just light press it. So if I just want a quick 5 or 10 seconds of light, I don't have to fully depress the tail cap switch. Just some light pressure on it and hold is sufficient. Well, here we are approaching the 1 mile marker for the yellow trail. The yellow trail goes off in that direction. Now I'm not going to follow that now because I can actually do it on the way back. If I take the road here, it's going to turn back to the left, and eventually at about 1.6 miles from Tadra, it will converge with the yellow trail. So what I'm going to do is do kind of a 360 and let you see what the 16 looks like. Now there's probably going to be a lot of wind noise, so I won't do any narration from this point. I'm just going to do a slow 360 and let you see what the 16 looks like in turbo mode. I don't know if you can hear, but out in this direction is pretty wide open territory. In fact, there's a tree line off in the distance, but even I can't see it, so I'm pretty sure you can't see it with the GoPro. Let's see what we can pick up with the 22. Yeah, I can pick up most of that tree line. It probably doesn't show up on the GoPro all that well. You can tell there's a lot of particulate matter out in the air tonight, and that's going to dramatically affect the quality and length of visibility that we get out of any lighting platform. So I'm going to head on down the road to the next stop. So this is kind of interesting. My headlamp is in high mode, about 900 lumens, but I can't see beyond the far trees there. However, if I bring the 16 into play, so this is a perfect example of how I would use this light throughout the night. So this is about the first place I might expect someone to get off the trail. I apologize for the wind noise. In fact, I'm going to turn around. Maybe this will make it a bit easier. Behind me, about 250 yards, is a hookup with the inbound to the yellow trail. All I'm going to do is a quick scan to see if there's anything out there. Okay, no sign, no footprints, no nothing. I'm going to proceed on this way to the next turnout. So we're coming up on a fairly interesting area. I've been out here before during the day, but never at night. Now, of course, this road just kind of keeps going on and on and on back that way. But if you look over here, it actually looks like there's been vehicle traffic through here, which is the case. And so this is an area that someone might like to go out exploring. Unfortunately, after about 450 yards, it kind of dead ends. So I'm going to go out to approximately that length, show you what it looks like, and if there's no sign, we'll work our way back here. But this is a place that I might expect an adventurous hiker to want to go exploring. So this is interesting. Right here you can see a water bottle. I've already checked it. It's not that cool. It's been discarded fairly recently. I'm going to pick it up on the way back. But this is intriguing because it could be a sign that the person that I'm looking for came in this direction. So I'm going to continue. So we're at a point where this is about to tailor off. If I go about another 50 yards straight, any hint of grooming along this path is just about gone. The wind noise is pretty bad right now, so I'm going to bring the 16 into play and just do a sweep here. This is just really, really wide open area, but the edge of those trees back there is well over 200 yards. So even with all the particulates in the air, I'm getting really good visibility here. And there's absolutely no additional sign that anybody came out here. So I'm going to go ahead and head on back. So this area that we just turned into, this is where the yellow trail crosses the road. We're about 1.6 miles from Tadra, and the yellow heads off in this direction. So I'm going to go a short ways and see if there's any sign. It takes well over an hour to get here from Tadra at an average pace, so this is about the last place she would have turned out unless she kept going along the road. Okay, well, this is one of the fairly deep gullies that we come to on the yellow trail, and for purposes of this exercise, we found amber at the bottom of this gully. You might be able to see that the ground is still a bit muddy from last week's rain, so in this scenario, she did come out this way. She stayed out way too late, didn't have enough light, couldn't make her way down this last gully, tripped, fell down. She's hurt there pretty much at the end of the gully. So part of this exercise for me would be to go through the mental exercises, the thought experiment of the entire list of things that I would do to aid in, after first aid all the way through extraction. I'm not going to go through that. That would take up a lot of time, but you can see how helpful the 16 is here. And I'll just do a quick 360. There's a yellow trail marker. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to head back in now, And I may take this yellow trail back a ways. It's going to be muddy, but it'll take me into you know, a heavily treed area, and then I can show you how the light looks under different circumstances, and we'll go through the different lighting modes. So we are headed back towards Tadra. This is the outbound section of the yellow trail. You can see we're going through a lot thicker brush here. I mean, 3100 lumens though, still not bad, probably a little bit too much for what we're going through. So let's stop right here and go through the modes. Right now we're in turbo, so let me turn my headlamp off. Okay, that's Econ, which is 30 lumens. I don't know how that shows up in the GoPro, but for 30 lumens, that's not bad. Okay, there's low 150, medium 350, high 1000, turbo 3100. So I think what I'm going to do for this case, let's leave it on high for a while. I'll leave it on high for the rest of the way. Get the headlamp back on. This off. And here we go. A good place to illustrate kind of a quick 360 search. Headlights on medium. So let me turn this on. This is high now, but we're in a fairly compact area of trees. So it's not overwhelming, but it's very easy to see deep into the trees. It's also very easy to switch modes too. And then of course if I just do the light press and hold, I don't even have to click in. So to me that's another big advantage of this particular light. So here we go once again. High. You can see fairly close in, this is the ideal mode, and we still have great visibility further down the trail. I mean, to me, none of these reflections are overwhelming. It's very easy. I don't know how it's coming out in the GoPro, but I can really see good detail deep into the trees. So I think, you know, for this type of terrain, high is the ideal setting. Okay, so we're just coming out of the yellow trail. I don't know if you can see, but right ahead of me, that reflection, that's the 1 mile marker for the yellow trail. We passed that on the way out. So that's where we catch the road and head back into Tadra. One last sweep here on turbo for the 16. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty impressive to see that reflection from this distance. There are infamous comm towers out at the grasslands. So that's it for the TK16 version 2. GoPro batteries getting low, so I will check back in at Tadra and give my final evaluation. Spoiler alert, I'm pretty impressed. Okay, here's another quick one. I just heard some noises, so we're right here by a pond. So this is a great way to do a quick scan. I mean, I can see well across this pond into the trees on the opposite side, even with all the particulate matter in the air. So there's one more quick view of the 16 in action. Okay, so we're almost back to Tadra. I'm going to stop here and do my final evaluation. There are a couple families camping out there, and I don't want to walk back in with lights on and talking to myself and freaking people out. I can make this real simple. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 exceeds all possible expectations, This is as close to a 10 as I'll probably ever see in my lifetime. Quality of the lighting, the different lighting modes, ease of operation. The only thing I found is that I'm still getting used to the light, touch, and hold. My previous experience with that type of operation was with a Nightcore, and it's a very different feel, so that's really on me. Just in terms of the overall quality though, and everything I get out of the lamp, without question, this is just a magnificent light. And I think it's safe to say this is my new right shoulder light. So here we go around one last time. The Fenix TK 16 version 2. I hope you found something useful in this review. I don't know what your application may be, but with 5 different lighting modes, Fenix reliability, the quality of the controls and the light, I mean, I've got to believe, you know, this is your go-to tactical light. And for search and rescue, particularly tactical SAR ops, this is a slam dunk. So thank you, and I'll sign off here. So can you see the skunk? Yeah, that's one of the many critters we have out here.